Welcome to Aspen, everyone. Today I have Tim with me, and I'm going Tim take it away and share his story with you guys.
All right. Hi, my name's Tim Davis. Thanks for having me on your show. It's an honor to be here. My story, well, I don't know if you want the long or the short version, but I just wrote a book this year called Tripolar, the story of a bipolar triathlete. And it's a memoir, and it has all the details. And
Well,
basically,
we've got time for the long version here, Tim. I've got time for the long version.
all right. Well, I'm let's see. I'm the third oldest of seven children. I was born in 1974, a big Catholic family. And I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, but we moved when I was three. And then we ended up settling in West Virginia, where I grew up in the Mountain Mama state, very beautiful state. And my childhood was I had two different childhoods. Up until age 13, things were kind of I don't know, mostly okay with my family. It was an abusive home. My parents disciplined us with a firm hand, but most of my abuse came from my older brother. He was 4 years older than me. And then when I was 13, my dad died in this tragic accident. Um, we were playing chase at our house on a Saturday evening, and he was chasing me. And he was like, "Ha ha ha, I'm gonna get you." And I was like, "Ha ha ha, you're not gonna catch me." And I ran out onto the balcony and down the other end and back in the house. And he ran out, and he had been drinking that day, and he tripped and he fell over the balcony and he landed head first onto our driveway below. It's a two-story balcony, and that was a pretty horrific night. And uh, we were all pretty shaken by that. And then my older brother came home from the hospital later that night. My mom left me and my little sister to put my three baby brothers to bed because they were only 2 years old, 3 years old, and 5 years old when the accident happened. And my older brother blamed me for my dad's death. So at age 13, I'm sitting here thinking, wow, it's my fault. My dad died, and that really kind of changed the path of my life trajectory. Up until that point, I had drank my first beer when I was 8 years old, and I had smoked marijuana when I was 9 years old. Because again, my older brother, who was 4 years older than me, he let me do whatever he was doing, so I tagged along with him and his friends. But at age 13 is when I started to do those things a lot more to escape the pain of feeling like it was my fault that my father died, and I thought it was my fault for a long time. In high school, I played a lot of sports, um, and that kind of kept me from drinking and smoking weed as daily because I would try to not do it during season and try and be focused on my sports. And then when it came time to go to college, I applied to a few different colleges, but I got into the University of Southern California, and that was the furthest away from home. And my mom and my older sister encouraged me to go and get out there, and I was happy to get away from my older brother because after my dad died, I guess he thought he was the man of the house, and he ruled the roost. And my mom was never really able to stop him from all the abuse that he gave us. So I was happy to get away from that. Then in college, I kind of changed my major like 5 times my freshman year. And I finally settled on exercise science. At first, I was engineering major. I met my wife to be my freshman year, and we started dating at the end of our freshman year. And her name's Mariah, and she is amazing. She actually helped me write the book on my last round of editing, so that was great. And then, my drug and alcohol addiction really kind of picked up in college and got really worse after college. After college, I started teaching. I became first a long-term substitute teacher, and then I became a middle school math and science teacher. And then I discovered that being a middle school math and science teacher, it was not good to drink on school nights because if you go into a classroom full of middle school children and all the energy that they have with the hangover, it's really a very painful experience when your head's pounding because you drank too much the night before. So I managed to not really drink on school nights, but I did smoke weed daily, and I binge drink on the weekends. And I taught middle school for a few years. My wife and I got married a year after college, and then a couple years later, we had our first child. And that's when I really realized that, whoa, I need to stop doing what I'm doing. This is not working. Um, and I tried to get sober. I started going to a few meetings, but I was, as some people say when they go to 12-step meetings, I was auditing the course. I wasn't all in. I didn't fully believe that I was an
You
alcoholic
are
and an
getting the
addict.
course. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were auditing 12-step. Well, that's not good.
Years diagnosed with bipolar, and that made me really angry. My second son was born when I was 27, and I'd still been struggling to try and stay sober. I managed to stay sober for a few months here, maybe 6 months there, but then I kept relapsing. And then when I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I was like, what? I'm an alcoholic and addict, and now I have this bipolar disorder too. I was really angry at God. I kind of had been angry at God since I was 13. I basically told people that I was an atheist or an agnostic since age 13. Embraced the 12-step program because if you work the 12 steps, you got to find a higher power. That I started to believe in God again. And it took me a couple more years after being diagnosed with bipolar disorder to really accept that too and listen to my psychiatrist and start taking my meds. And I ended up getting sober at age 30 and stayed sober for 3 years and a couple months. And I had one more relapse that lasted about 2 months. And so then I finally got sober at age 33. I remember it was my 33rd birthday, and I had to check out of rehab. I was in a rehab for 2 weeks, but my roommate checked in a couple days in the hospital, and he came in with a bunch of drugs. So I was in a rehab doing cocaine with my roommate because he brought all these drugs in. So I went and told the guys after a few days of that, I'm like, I got to get out of here. I can't stay sober in this place, which they thought was ironic. It is ironic. So I
Yeah.
got out of there, and on my birthday, I finished. I had a few beers and a little bit of weed, and at this park near JPL, and then I threw all that stuff away, and I actually urinated over what was left of it because I didn't want to use it again. I don't know if that's too gross a detail for this podcast, but that was the last time I ever drank or used. And that's what they say in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous is if you don't forget the last time your last drink or drug, then you're not done drinking and using. So after I got sober, in my first year of sobriety, I ate like a pig. I went to all the 12-step meetings and I ate all the cakes and cookies and everything they had, and I gained 60 pounds in my first year of sobriety. And at a year and a half sober, I'm only 5'8" tall. I weighed 250 pounds, and I was really upset. And so I remember it was December 31st, 2008. It was New Year's Eve. And so in 2009, I made my first New Year's resolution that I was ever able to stick to. And I just decided that I was going to stop eating seconds. So I was going to really watch my portion sizes. Um, and then I was going to start going to the gym every day or start exercising every day. And that I would not allow myself to watch TV or play video games until I'd exercise for at least an hour each day. And that was in 2009. And I've been doing that ever since. And in doing that, I lost 60 pounds in 6 months, and I started running. I did run track in high school, so I got back into running, and then I started doing triathlons. And I just found that for me, I always like to say, self-care is the most important thing you can do for anybody, no matter where you're at in your life. And I really learned how to take care of my mind, my body, and my spirit. Because up until that point, I've been working the 12 steps, I've been taking my meds, but I'm a type 2 bipolar disorder and I have hypomania. So even with the meds, I still kind of get manic and just have a lot of nervous energy and anxiety. And I found that exercising regularly was like the third and final piece to really help kind of keep me stable and balance me out. And I kind of became an exercise addict and got really extreme. I started doing Ironman triathlons. I started doing 2 a year. I did my first Ironman triathlon in 2007 or 2010. I'm sorry. and I ended up doing like 2 Ironmans a year for 5 years, and then I really got into ultra running, and I started running 50Ks. And if for anybody who's not familiar with ultra running, ultra marathons, they're any race that's longer than a 26.2-mile marathon, because I had been a marathon runner for a while. And
Yeah.
then I got up to running these 100-mile endurance runs, and I've run 7 of those over the last 5 years. And I just kind of, it's my thing, when I'm not working or hanging out with the family. I have a wife and 3 kids now. I'm out on the trails, or I'm out on my bike, or I'm in the pool, and that's just that's what I do with my free time. It's my hobby, and it just helps me keep my sanity.
Well,
So I
that's
guess that's my story for the most part.
what because we have a common son in this podcast, and I don't know if you, realize this, but I was lucky enough to compete in the Kona Ironman,
Oh,
and
wow.
do, that for, I did that for a year, gave it up because of well, let's put it this way. Gave it up because triathletes are so self-centered, and this is public knowledge. They're so self-centered that they are they want to focus on the win, and they want to focus on everything. And I if I if when I shouldn't say if when I go back to it, I need a completely different team. When I go back to it, I need a completely different team to help me because I can't do it with my same teammate. There's no way. And so, what Ironman did you do? Was it half Ironman or full Ironman?
I've done 22 half Ironmans, and I've done 12 full Ironmans. The official Ironmans, I guess, by the Ironman World Corporation that I've done are Ironman Vineman, Ironman Arizona, Ironman Coeur d'Alene, and Ironman California. And then I've done several other full distance Ironman distance triathlons by the HITS series, and a few other kind of, they're not the Ironman World Corporation triathlons, but they're still the same distance. It's 2.4 miles, 100 a swim, 112-mile bike, and then the 26.2 marathon run. And I totally get what you're saying about it kind of being a selfish sport. The one thing I noticed in triathlons early on is everybody's so focused on themselves and trying to get personal records. And, when the race is on, it's all about them. And that's why I gravitated towards ultra running. Because, like if you're out there on the bike course, you get a flat tire, people just ride right by you. Nobody offers you any help,
Yeah,
you got to take care of yourself.
they don't. I have a funny story about well, not funny because I didn't win. I didn't win Kona because stupid, the stupid bike. We got stuck on the bike in Kona. We got stuck on the bike course in Kona, and yeah, that was a disaster and a half due to my teammate. Um, Due to Ironman rules, and I'll never forget it. My teammate goes, this is hard," quote, and she's pedaling the bike. I'm sitting on in a bucket on the back of the bike, and I could pedal a bike. I could easily walk up and down stairs. And I'm thinking, no, SHIT is hard because you're not only pedaling your own body weight slash pulling your own body weight, you're pulling me. And there's no I in team.
Yeah, that does sound
And
like a real
so
challenge.
we we got stuck on a stupid bike course in Kona, and so that's why if I ever do the Kona Ironman again, or if I ever do Florida, and a young man, you guys, I don't know if you know this, but a young man with Down syndrome just competed in Ironman Florida and won a dang thing. Thank you very much. Won a medal, and he it's all over the news. It's all over
Yeah,
the
he's
news
amazing.
that
I've been
yeah,
I've been following him on social media. I think his name's Chris Nikic. His last
Chris
name's
Nikic.
Nikic.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, Chris
he's
Nikic. and I have to look him up now because I want to talk to him. And so Chris Nikic, there we go. And so I would love to do I would love to do Florida. Love I almost did Florida, but then we backed out of it. And I say we, my teammate and I backed out of it. But I would love to do the Florida triathlon again because I want to do it and I will eventually do possibly Kona with a totally different team who doesn't put me in a position that is so self-centered and doesn't put me in a position. And I can see why you gave up the triathlons, Tim, and did ultra marathon running because ultra marathon running is a little bit less, how do I put this? I'll put it bluntly, stick up your own ass and yeah, stick up your own ass and then I can see why ultra marathons are less stick up your own ass and then I will yeah, but triathlons are fun if you have the right team and the right support. I unfortunately did not have the right support. And yeah, I had the right support on the sidelines though, but I did not have the right support in s- the triathlon itself. And so yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I still do a few triathlons here and there, but yeah, with the ultra running and trail running community, there's just like this kindred spirit. It's just like it feels like a family. Sorry, that's my cat.
That's okay.
Yeah, I just love.
Make it real.
Yeah, yeah, the family community, like I've been in so many ultra running races and trail running races, and you got your pack on and but if you tell somebody, like in one race I had to go to the bathroom, but I was out of toilet paper and this other lady was running right beside me. She's like, I got some extra toilet paper for you, and so another race, like this person needed some chapstick, and I'm like, here's some of my chapstick. Everybody kind of shares what they have if you need certain things, like another race, my stomach was really bothering me, but I didn't have any antacids, and I'm running beside this other person. I'm like, do you have any antacids? And they're like, yeah, sure, here I got some.
Yeah, exactly. And so Tim, where
Uh-huh.
can people find you if they choose to find you, and where can people get a hold of the book?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I was just letting my cat outside. He's
Where
meowing too much.
yeah, the cat meows. But, um, where can people find you, and where can people get a hold of the book if they choose to do so?
All right. Yeah, my book is available on Amazon, Apple Books, Book Depository, Indie Books, and a few other distributors. It's available in paperback, ebook, Kindle, and audiobook. And at my website, ultratimdavis.com, there's a direct link to the Amazon and a list of the other suppliers for anybody, because I know some people boycott Amazon, so that's why I made it available on other distributors too.
And how did you publish it? Did you self-publish it or go, Highblunt Publishing?
I kind of looked into all three, the traditional, hybrid, and self-publishing, and I guess you could say I mostly self-published. I did hire an editor and a marketing consultant, so I mean maybe that's a little bit of a hybrid thing. I certainly wrote a lot of those query letters and book proposals to all the literary agents, but didn't get any luck there. That's a hard thing to. It's hard to land a lit agent and try and get with one of the big five publishers.
Yep.
I found that out.
Yep, you found that out. I've found that
Yeah.
out too. And you guys, I'm working with a hybrid publisher now to publish my 12th and 13th book. So I'm really excited about that. Two hybrid publishers actually. And Tim, as we wrap this interview up, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, I did actually. I was wondering, how long have you been doing your podcast, and what inspired you to start doing your podcast?
I have been doing my podcast for about 10 years now. And what inspired me to start doing my podcast is I wrote a book called I Come a Win and I
Uh-huh.
Win. And I thought now since I hit the publishing button, I thought, oh great, how am I going to market this book? Well, little old me went to Facebook and little old me asked in a podcasting group, what's the best podcasting host? They gave me my answer and I went over and signed up and then took the dive into podcasting. All of a sudden, I noticed that people started downloading my podcast, including my friends and family. And I have been since happily doing podcasting and journalism. And I'll be a accredited journalist on February 28th, 2022, after I finish up my journalism degree from Arizona University Global, aka Arizona University, which formerly is called Ashford University in San Diego.
Oh, okay. Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. And yeah, I would, as I said, I would love to do Ironman Florida with a different team and with the same teammates on the sidelines, though, but it would have to be a different team that I didn't with because, as we talked about, triathletes are so self centered that it's not even funny and it's not even funny. And I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And please, everyone, go support him and go support his book. We will have all his information in the show notes. And Tim, can you give our listeners the book title again, just in case they didn't catch it?
Oh yeah, the title of the book is Tripolar: The Story of a Bipolar Triathlete.
Bipolar, the story of a bipolar triathlete, and I love it, and I love it, and I'm going to try and get Chris with Down syndrome on this podcast, you guys, to
Yeah.
talk about his triathlete journey doing Ironman Florida, and I would love to have you guys support and send triathletes my way. And we'll talk shop and we'll just have fun. You guys get to pick the guests now. I can do my own work, but without you guys helping me, this podcast wouldn't exist. And I appreciate your support. And whenever you're listening to this, let's make this world a little bit brighter and a little bit stronger for everyone involved, including people with disabilities. And yes, bipolar is a disability. And so I appreciate everyone's support. Bye, you guys.
All right. Thanks.